So what you see on the screen is actually the appearance of an SPSS without any data, and that's all about the variable view. If you're going to look at the very bottom, you can see variable view and then data view. So you can put the cursor under data view and it changes the color. The entire cell is being highlighted. On my screen, it's blue. I do not know what color is appearing in your screen. So data view, you will see different columns like Microsoft Excel, but you can find there row number one, row number two, so forth and so on. And you can see columns, var column, and all of those columns are labeled by var. Do you see that one, Miss Pasinabo?
Yes, Doc.
What do you see on my screen, Miss Pasinabo?
As of now, Doc, the variables or um there
What
are
do you
no
see in
more
the different columns in my screen?
just plain Doc, zero variables. Excuse me.
There are no zero variables in there. What do you see? Could you describe
I
what
mean,
you
sorry.
see on my screen?
Sorry, Doc. Uh just a plain spreadsheet, Doc.
Yeah, what do you
Uh,
see in the
with
column?
numbers, with
What
numbers
numbers
at
do
the
you
first
see?
column.
First column has no number. Yeah, there's a number. What number do you see?
The very first, yes, Doc, from 1 to 32 based on my screen po.
Okay,
And on the upper head, the horizontal lines, there is a word var.
okay. And all of the columns are labeled as bar. Okay?
Var. Yes po.
Okay. So unlike in Microsoft Excel that we can encode directly the column heading. So if we want to have a column heading for the different columns, we can encode that one directly. But in the Microsoft Excel, if we're going to provide the heading of column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, so forth and so on, we could not do that directly, in which we can do that one directly in Microsoft Excel. So what we're going to do is click uh, the variable view. And when you click on the variable view, you can find a column whose heading is name. And that would refer to the name of the variable. But the name of the variable in here must have no space. So if there's a variable that does have a space, you are going to abbreviate that one in such a way that the variable has no space. So space under name column is not allowable. Okay? So no, no, no for space in the first column. So for example, if the first variable is 6, so we can type 6 in there. And since that is only a single word, so we don't have a violation of the space utilization. So take note under name column, that refers to the name of the variable, and space is not allowed. The second column, you can put the cursor in the second column. If you're going to put the cursor in the second column, you can find the dialog box. Do you see the dialog box? Do you see the dialog box?
Yes,
Contain
Doc.
Yes.
numeric, comma, up to restricted numeric integer. And then on the lower right-hand corner, we have cancel and then okay. Do you see that? Lonilyn, do you see that one? What do you see in the screen now? What do you see on my screen?
Um, uh, as of now, Doc, there is a dialog box
Mm-hmm.
wherein, yes, Doc,
What
it
what are the things that you see in the dialog box?
the words displayed in the dialog box are numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, dollar, custom currency, string, restricted numeric. integer with leading zeros, and then
Okay, that's
there
correct.
is a warning.
Yeah, that's correct. So this would refer to the categories of the variable. So variable in statistics is classified into two. We have the quantitative variable or numerical variable. We have also the categorical variable or the qualitative variable. So we have two types of variables, qualitative or categorical, quantitative or numerical. So in SPSS, if the variable is quantitative, then we call that one as numeric. But if the variable is qualitative, then we label that one as a string. Since sex is actually a qualitative variable or a categorical variable, it has a value male and then female, then that refers to a string variable. So you put here the cursor under string. Then click on OK. Do you follow? And then, do you follow?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. And then, we have the next column whose heading is width. That refers to the width of the column. And the default is 8. No? The default is 8. And then we also have here decimals. There's no decimal in the variable because the variable is qualitative. And when we talk about qualitative variable, there's no decimal for that. And then you notice that there is what we call a label column. So this label column is only applicable if you abbreviated the name of the variable. So for example, you abbreviate the name of the variable because the variable is so long, then you need to abbreviate that one. And when you abbreviate, you are going to label the complete name of the variable. But since we did not abbreviate the variable sex, then we don't put any in the label column. We don't label that one because we don't abbreviate. We only use the abbreviate or the label column if we abbreviated the variable, the name of the variable. And take note that all columns are draggable. For example, the same to Microsoft Excel. We can drag this one to the right or to the left. We can increase the width or we can decrease the width. The same to the functionality of Microsoft Excel. And then we go to values. So values column. When you put the cursor on the values column, you will see this dialog box. So what do you see in the dialog box? Mr. Gahisan, what do you see in the dialog box?
The dialog box entitled value labels, where there is a blank portion for the value to be inputted, and also label. Then we can see here the add, change, remove, help, cancel, okay, and also the spelling option.
Okay, so that's what we see no, in the dialog box. Is that what you see, Geraldine?
Yes, sir. We have the value levels, value, then the spelling, then the level. We have add, change, remove. The lower part, help, cancel, okay.
Okay, so we look at into this. So our possible values of the variable, we have male and then female. And we don't encode male and we don't encode female. We only use a value to represent the value of the variable. So for instance, 1. So all of our values are in terms of numbers and we are going to label that one for a certain value of the variable. So we can say 1, the label is male. Then you are going to add that one. So once you click on add, then 1 equals male will be in the inner rectangle. Do you see that one? That 1 is equal to male is already in the inner rectangle. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Hello? Could you
Yes, po. Yes.
mute and then tell me, kay
Yes, Doc.
you are not answering, I'm asking questions. So if I ask questions, the same to a face-to-face, unmute and then reply. so that I will not like a fool asking questions and as if I am not facing to anyone virtually. Or else, if you don't reply, you don't participate, I'm going to remove you. So do you see this the same as what Geraldine has mentioned a while ago?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc, we do.
Yes,
Oh, kana, reply. Dili kay sa nakadungog na mo nga nangutana ko, you are not going to reply.
Sorry, Doc.
Di ba klaro po siguro na nga what I'm saying is interrogative statement. So that means I'm asking. And when I ask, I need answers from you. Because this is a virtual class and not in the case that all throughout you are going to mute your microphone. So two will be labeled as female, then an. But in your own case, in your own perspective, it does not mean one is male. You might think one is female, then two is male. You can do that depending on your choice of the labels. Okay? Now, for instance, you want to remove, then you put the cursor into the inner rectangle, naka-highlight ang variable to be removed as well as the label, and then you can click on remove. Okay? So, should you like to add something, for example, then you add letter A, then naka-highlights it change. Then you can click on change. Okay? So, that's it. I'm going to click on OK. And then you're going to have missing. You can only use the missing icon in there if some of the variables are missing. But if none, then just let it be in there. Columns that would refer to the column width, that is the same to the width of the column 8, then column in here 8. An alignment column would refer to the same concept in the Microsoft Excel, that you can actually write the data at the center of the column, or maybe to the left of the column, or maybe to the right of the column. But in my case, normally, I like the data in terms of a centered data. So I'm going to click here, center, meaning I want that the data being encoded is at the center. But if you like it to be in the right, then all must be in the right. If you like it na all must be in the left, then all must be in the left. If you like it to be at the center, so all must be at the center. And the same to what we do in a table for Microsoft Word or a table in a Microsoft Excel. And then the fourth one, we're going to look at into the level of measurement. So jot this down. You have taken this one in your undergraduate statistics and in your master's statistics. But if you could not remember, jot this down. We have 4 levels of measurement. We have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So we have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. The lowest one is nominal. The second one is ordinal. The third one is interval. The fourth one is ratio. So interval and ratio are classified as a scale under measure column. So there are only 3 possible values in the second to the last column. So you can have nominal data, ordinal data, or the scale data. The scale would refer to the interval or the ratio value. When we say nominal, meaning you see values in there in terms of numbers, but those numbers have no numerical values. So for example, we look at here 1 for male, then 2 for female. We use numbers, but these numbers have no numerical values. They only classify male for one, and two classifies female. So these numbers basically are just classification purposes or identification purposes. So that's nominal. So we look at that one as nominal. So it's nominal. The role, so normally input data or input variable. Next, we can look up into the data view. So if you look at the data view, it's there already. No? The column heading is sex. So we look at this one, sex. Do you see sex as the column heading of the second column?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Doc.
Doc.
Okay, sige.
Well,
So that's it. So let's go back to variable view. So for example, the second variable is civil status. So civil status is composed of two words, and that is a long name of the variable. So if the name of the variable is long, then we need to abbreviate that one in such a way that we have a shorter name and we don't use a space. And that one must be placed in the name column. So we can normally, I like abbreviating civil status as save, then stat. So save stat. So save, then stat. Why save stat? Because it would be easier to remember nga save would refer to civil and stat would refer to status. But some would say, okay, the abbreviation is in terms of acronym, CS. That can be okay. But it is so difficult to remember what's the meaning of CS. Because it might be computer science, whatever it is. But in my case, I look at the abbreviation as an abbreviation that is actually easily be remembered, can be easily remembered. So when I say CivStat, I can easily remember that one is referring to civil status. Okay? Then we go to the string column. So again, we see the same dialog box. What do you see in the dialog box, Reggie?
Hello, sir. I see a numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, dollar, custom currency, string, restricted, numeric, integer with leading zeros. Then the numeric type honors the digit grouping setting, while the restricted numeric never uses digit
Okay.
grouping. And we have help and cancel and OK option.
Okay. Do you see the same dialog box, Ma'am Lasarte?
Yes, Doc. I see
Okay.
the same dialogue.
Arnaldo, do you see the same?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So civil status is a string because our possible values of civil status, single, married, widow, widower, separated, so forth, and so on. So that's a string. So click on OK. So it is string. And the width is 8. Normally, ang default is 8. Then there's no decimal. Now we can use the label. Okay, we have to label because we abbreviated the name of the variable. Now we are going to write the complete name of the variable. So we write here civil status. And in the label column, you are going to use a space. You can use space already in the label column. Okay, so civil status, that's actually in the label column. And this is the complete name of the abbreviated name of the variable. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Next is we are going to have values. So when you click on the values column, there's a dialog box that appears. So, sir, okay, hold on. Geraldine, what do you see? in the dialog box?
I see the value levels, then down value level, then in the right side spelling, there is a big blank box where
Okay.
left side there is add, change, remove, and the lower part help, cancel, okay.
Okay. Miss Welto, what do you see in the dialog box?
I can see in the dialog box, Doc, the value label such as the value to be inputted and also the value, and the lowermost the help button, and the right side the cancel and okay. And there is an empty big rectangular shape.
Okay. So we are going to have labels. So one, we can label that one as single. All the values must be numbers. Okay? Not letters. Now, all the values must be numbers, not letters. Then add. Then two, single. Then add. Sorry. So, for example, in here, I got a mistake in the encoding. So, I can put the cursor in the center rectangle and I can make the necessary changes. So, I can change that one to, so one married. Then, naka-highlights it change. Do you see that one on your screen?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so I'm going to click on change. So it is changed now. Number two, married. Follow?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so we're going to click on OK. So shall we say we're going to add one more value? 3 for separated. Because it's possible. Separated, so add. And then you can have also 4 for widow. Then add, you can have 5 for widower. And assuming that those are only the possible values, so we have the coding. So when you encode the values, you don't encode widow, widower, single, married. But what you are going to type is only 1 if that is single, 2 if the person is married, 5 if the person is widower. So it would be easier to encode a single number than group of letters. So click on OK. The same to missing. That's okay. No missing value as we assume. Column is the same to with 8. And then the alignment, we're going to align that one as in the center. And then we look at measure. So if we go back measure, we look at the possible values. So we use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so forth and so on. But these numbers are only used for classification purposes or identification purposes. So this one would be classified as just part of the nominal category. Okay? So take note under measure column, that would refer to the 4 levels of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. In the SPSS, the interval and the ratio are represented by scale. Now, for example, we look at into another variable, number 3. So, performance rating. So, for example, performance rating. So, then rating. So, performance rating is a long one, but you can abbreviate that one as per rating. Some would say PR as the abbreviation, and that's okay. But in my case, I use an abbreviation where I could easily remember the complete meaning of the abbreviation. But if you write PR, that's okay. It depends upon what you can easily remember. So performance rating, so we look at that one as part of numeric, right? Performance rating can be 95, 100, or it can be 1 up to 7 in depth ed, no? 1 up to 7, and then in some cases 1 to 5, no? and that is labeled as outstanding, very satisfactory, so forth and so on. And some would say excellent, very good, good, fair, then poor. So depending on the agency, on what is actually the classification of the performance ratings. So we label that one as what? Numeric. And normally, our performance rating, we are going to round off that one to the nearest whole number. So if that is a whole number, then there's no decimal point. So 0 ang decimal number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 as the highest. If the scale is 1 up to 7, 7 is the highest. So we don't have decimal places. We normally round off that one to the nearest whole number. But there might be other agencies, maybe your agency up to 2 decimal places. So if in case up to 2 decimal places, then you increase that one also up to 2 decimal places. But let's assume that the data are rounded off to the nearest whole number. So we look at that one. Okay, so okay, 0. Then we can label the variable. So we can have here, for example, 5 as excellent. Then, for example, 4 as the label for very good. Then add. Then 3, the performance label is, good. Then 2, we label it as fair. And then 1 as 4. Then add. So we assume that these are actually the values of the performance rating. 5 excellent, 4 very good, 3 good, 2 fair, then 1 poor. So let's have those values. Do you follow? Then click on OK. So nothing will be done to missing, nothing will be done to columns. And then still our alignment should be at the center. Because if we start at center, then all must be at the center. If you start in the left, so start in the left. If you start in the right, so dapat you start that one in the right side. Now we look at measure. Is the variable ordinal, nominal, or in the ratio scale? Now, nominal, you can see numbers and the numbers are used for classification. If you go to ordinal, you can see numbers plus one characteristic that there is what we call ranking or ordering. So if you can say nga ranking is possible, ordering is possible, then it's no longer nominal. It is in the ordinal level. So if you look at our values, we have different numbers. But these numbers are classification. So we might say nominal. But aside from being nominal, there is what we call a possibility of ranking. Nga they are actually arranged from highest to the lowest or lowest to the highest one. We have excellent, very good, good, fair, and then poor. So that is actually a classification of ranking or ordering. So thereby, this kind of variable is classified as ordinal. So we are going to click on ordinal. So that is an ordinal value. So be able to, in your undergrad and in your master's statistics, level of measurement are always being discussed. Nominal, ordinal, interval, and then ratio. So any clarifications?
And
Clarification?
Really, Doc.
Okay.
And
So for example, height. So we have height. Height in height and feet. So HTFT, height and feet. So height, because sometimes we collect the data in terms of height. So now, if we go to type, so that's numeric, right? Because it is indicated height in feet. So that's numeric. And column width, that's the same, 8 and decimals. Normally in the Philippines, the height, if it is in meters, up to 1 decimal place. Do you agree? Height, you're gonna be what? In terms of feet. So we have 5.5 feet, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, or 6 feet. That's the normal way of giving values to height in feet. So up to 1 decimal place. And then we don't put values in here. Unlike in the first one, second, and third, that we have values. But in here, we don't need to classify the values. Why? There are many possible values of height. So we just leave it blank. We don't code. If the height is 5.7, encode directly 5.7. If the height is 5.8, then encode that one 5.8. If the height is 5.1, then encode that one as 5.1. If the height is 4.8, encode directly that one as 5.1. And again, the alignment is at the center. And this is in the scale measurement. So pag scale, there are only two. It's either interval or ratio. So anyone who can remember what is an interval scale and what is a ratio scale? If you have taken that one in your master statistics or undergraduate statistics. So anyone who can tell me what is an interval scale and what is a ratio scale?
Sir, Doc, interval is still has the concept of nominal and ordinal, but there is an additional value like zero. It as zero does not means has no value at all.
So what, for example?
Student got zero does not mean, as what you said last meeting, Doc, na it doesn't mean that the student has no learning at all because it still has the value.
Okay, we discussed that one last time, right? About the different levels of measurement. So that is a scale. That's correct. So aside from what is mentioned by Miss Gahisan, by Miss Isugan, sorry. What else can you say about interval and ratio, Mr. Gahisan?
Aside from that, it's mentioned also that zero is since zero is not a true zero and it has a value, so it's actually has its own interpretation, sir, or somewhat like it is still counted po. And for the ratio, it tells here that zero has no value at all and that zero is a real zero po.
Okay. And then, Ms. Lasarte, what else can you say about interval and ratio scale?
According to our discussion last time, though, as what I've understand about the difference of interval and the ratio scale, interval is a scale of measurement where the differences occur between values that are considered meaningful, but there is no true 0 point, just like what Miss Geraldine said. And during our discussion last time, when we say interval scale, this refers to zero does not mean none. When we say ratio scale, this refers to zero means none of the quantity exists. It means that what we can do is to race, or what I mean is ratio makes sense, such as, like, for example, a 20 kilogram is twice as heavy as 10 kilogram.
Okay. So if we go to data view, there are now different columns, sex, civ stat, pair rating, and then height in feet. Okay. So We look at this one. If we put the cursor under civil status, then there's a pop-up. Civil status, then the exact meaning is actually popping up. It's there. And then you can remember. Then performance rating. So when you put the cursor in there,
No pop up.
if you put the cursor under height, height and feet. So after some time, after a second, there's a pop-up. You're going to have sex, there's no pop-up because we don't abbreviate that one. Okay? So don't forget to save. So once you have started, don't forget to save. So we look at that one, save as. And then you are going to have desktop ba? Or depending on what location where you consider the saving. And don't forget the same to the way we save the value. So we look at that one as stat 703 file. And then normally I'm going to label September 20, 2025 so that I can exactly remember what data did I do the encoding. Okay. Then click on save. Okay. So don't forget to save all the time, no? And if you save that one and then you put that one in an into USB and you open that one in another computer but there's no SPSS, it cannot be open. Okay? So for example, you save that one in a drive or maybe naka Google Drive and then you open that one into a computer or a desktop where SPSS is not installed, it cannot be open. It can only be open if your gadget has an installed SPSS. So when we do the encoding, so if we know that the respondent is male, then we type 1. If we know that the civil status is single, we type 1 also. And if the performance rating is excellent, we type only 1. And then if the height is 5.1, then type 5.1. And all are actually in the center of the different columns. So for example, the first 10 are all male. So I'm going to go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, up to 10. Then 11 is also male. And then the next 5 is actually female. Then I'm going to encode 2, 2, 2, 2, then 2. Do you see my screen? I'm typing. So instead of typing male, then I only encode 1. Instead of encoding female, I encoded only 2. So the encoding would be easier because we are going to encode only single digits. And the probability of committing an error is actually very low because we only type a single digit. If we type 3 characters or 4 characters, the probability of an error is actually very high. Then, for example, the next one is male, then female, another female, another female, another female, then male, then male, then another male. Then next is female, then female, then another female, then male, then female. So granting that we have a total respondents in a certain study. Then we look at civil status. So for example, the next one is married, then single, then we have separated, then widow, Then we have another married, then single, 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 then widow, 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 then widower, then single, then married. So we have those different data. Then performance rating. We look at the performance rating. Shall we say in the data that we have collected, excellent, 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 very good, very good, then good, 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 then very good, very good, very good, then pair, 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 then poor, 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 then excellent, 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 excellent. Then looking at the height. So shall we say 5, okay, 5, exactly 5, then 4.9, 4.8, then 4.7, then 4.5, then 5.5, then 5.6, sorry, okay, 5.4 for example, then 5.6, 5.7, 5.8, 5.8, then 5.3, 5.4, 5.3, then another 5, another 5, another 5, another 5, then 4.5, 4.5, then 4.4, then 4.3, 5.1, 5.2, then 5.6, 5.7 as the last one. Okay. So we look at that one. So we look at here. Save. That is what we call, you can see save. So save all the time. So if you look at that one, there's a button, sorry. There's a button save. So dapat you are going to save. Okay. So we look at the data and we look at the variable view. So we have variable view, that's it. And we have now data view, that's it. Okay. Do you follow?
Yes,
Doc.
Doc.
Yes,
Doc.
Doc.
Okay, next. We want to look at whether the encoding is correct. So we go into data cleaning. So we go into data cleaning. So what is data cleaning? Meaning you're going to find out if all the data are encoded. It is okay because we have only a total of 30. But suppose you have 500, you have 1,000, you have 2,000. It would be difficult for you to data clean by just looking at the figures. So what you are going to do, you go to the analyze. So you click on analyze. When you click on analyze, you can see those dialog box. And then you go to reports. So you go to reports, then go to case summaries. So go to case summaries. So that's what you see. Do you see that one on your screen?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so what do you see in your screen, Reggie?
I see, Doc, the analyze following reports, descriptive statistics, so on and so forth. And on the right side, Doc, you have there the code book, pull-up cubes, case summaries report, summaries in rows, and report summaries in columns.
Okay, so click on case summaries. So when you click on case summaries, you will see another dialog box. So what do you see, Richel Suelto?
I can see, Doc, on the left side there is sex, civil status, per rating, height in feet, and on the center portion we have the bigger box, the variables, and the smaller one is the grouping variables, and there are buttons such as statistics and options.
Okay, do you see the same, Lonelyn?
Yes, Doc.
Mr. Arnaldo, do you see the same?
Yes, Doc. Summarize cases.
Okay. So we transfer all the variables. We can highlight all the variables. The same to what we do in a Word document. You are going to highlight all and then transfer that one to variables. Okay. So do you see that one? Do you see that all of the variables in the left rectangle are now
Yes.
transferred in the right upper rectangle?
Yes, Doc.
Yes.
Okay. Then you are going to check display cases and you are going to, in some cases, the display would be limited to 100. Sometimes 50 only because it would be difficult for you to look at all of the 1,000 if you have 1,000. So since we have a small data, we can just uncheck limit cases to first to 100. If you're going to say limit cases to first 100, what will be plotted will be the first 100 only. But if you are going to uncheck that one, meaning all data are actually being processed, then show only valid cases. No? So dapat you are going to show valid cases. Then show the case numbers. No? Show the case numbers. And then you are going to click on OK. Also, after having this one, try to check, try to remember what are being checked, then click on OK. So when you click on OK, after some time you get the summary. You can find this. So if you're going to look at, you can find the case processing summary. That you have capital letter N, 30, 30, 30. No? So dapat no missing. No, walay na exclude. 0, 0, 0. So you will know nga all are encoded if this is actually all 0. Under excluded 0. And the total is 100%. This 100%, this one 100%. Excluded 0, 0, meaning nothing is being excluded. And this second table is actually the complete set of data in tabular form. So respondents number 1 up to number 30. Then case number 1, 2, 3 up to 30. Then the 6 naka-label. Although what we have encoded is number, but what will appear in there is actually the exact value of the code. Because we labeled that one male, two female, one single, two married. So what will appear in there in the case summaries would be the words that they are representing, the categories that they are representing. Since the height is not actually coded, then what will appear would be the exact height as we encoded that one in the data view. Do you follow?
Yes,
Yes.
Doc.
Okay.
Yes po.
And all of these can be copied. We can copy that one. You just click summarize. This one in the left side, copy. You can highlight and then you are going to copy. And then you can open a Word document. So Word document. You can open a Word document. You can copy that one. Hold on for a moment. So I'm waiting for the Word. Okay. Is the open one.
Oh no.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, Doc.
Yes,
Okay.
Doc.
And I pasted that one to the Word document. Because in there, you could not change. Different universities have different formats of the table. So, you can actually copy and then modify the column table. And the design of the table will be dependent on the design of the university. NORSU has a different design, different format. SEPSU has a different format. and all other universities have different formats. So in here, you can copy and you can paste. And after pasting, you can change, you can manipulate the table format in the Word document. Any clarifications?
Doc, excuse me po.
Go ahead.
In here po, in the data cleaning, under civil status number 29, it was not a change. Is it possible it can be detected, Doc?
Yeah, if you're going to look at that one, number 29, widow. And then we have there 29, that's male. Then number only. And then we have excellent. But if you look at number 26, still widow, we have here 28, blah, blah, blah. So what do you think? Why is it that it's not being read? Because if you're going to look at the number has another character, right? Our
Yes.
value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one is actually having another character. So what you are going to do in here, you can actually have that one and go to data view. That's number 29. That one, right? So that's number 29. And what is being encoded in number 29 is having another character, right? So since it has another character, it cannot be read by SPSS. So the software will only copy what is being encoded because there is no corresponding value for that. But if you change that one for one, then we're going to look at that one. And then we go back to analyze. Then we go to case summaries. And then we run again the frequency. Okay. So try to look at this one. Number 29 is a change already. Okay. Why it happens? Because what has been encoded is not only one. We have one, then another character, in which we don't actually have that one as a code. So what will happen is SPSS will actually detect nga that is not in the code. And that's one thing that we are going to consider in the data cleaning. That is why I mentioned that this one is part of data cleaning. You look at all the summary table and try to find out if all are exactly the same based on the coding that we have, based on the values that we assign to each of the numbers. So you actually check what is the mistake in there ahead of time. No? Thank you for that. And that's what we call data cleaning, where you have found nga naman nga number man siya nga in this column, majority or most of the values are words. But that one is one with another character. And then we detected nga that one is not actually a value for the different labels of the variable civil status. And that is what we call data cleaning. So what is your other clarifications? Any other clarifications? Okay, so what you are going to do as a classwork, you are going to have this one. Copy the same variable. So take a screenshot of the different values. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of those values. Then I'm going to go back to civil status. So these are the values for civil status. Take a screenshot. And then I go for performance rating. Take a screenshot. And follow the same naming of the variables. And now you are going to assume many values up to 100. no, up to 100. Assume any other values up to 100. And then I want you to come up with analyze and only for case summaries. Only for case summaries. Okay? So that's the classwork for the remaining number of minutes. And then I'll be creating a classwork where you can encode your output. So no two will have the same. So you are going to have different values of the different values for sex, civil status, performance rating, and height in faith. So that would be your classwork, no? That would be your classwork. So create a data file and how many respondents? 100. And what are the variables? The same to these variables, the same to the variable view, no? The same to variables that we use, but you need to have a total of 100. And you are going to upload that one into the classwork. So first, what you are going to upload is the file that you have created. No? So the file name would be your name, stat703, ed703, or whatever code number, then your last name, no? Lasarte, Swelto ba, Isugan, Gahisan, Reyes, Rogon, or Pasinabo, so forth and so on. And then other Rogon file, Pasinabo file, Lasarte file. And then the other one would be stat703, ed703, Swelto output. So ang usa is output. What is the output that you are going to do? The output is all about the case summaries. Now you have two tables, no? Case summaries. Okay, so that will be the end of my lecture. And then I'm going to stop the recording just for a moment.